And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all. That's right, folks. It's KP's Video News. And coming to you again, trying to bring it to you with the real. And here we go. We got an officer charged in the death of a black man who family says was trying to break up a dispute. A Texas police officer has been charged with murder in the shooting of a black man in East Texas over the weekend. Wolfe City Police Officer Sean Lucas is being held on $1 million bond following his arrest late Monday night, according to the Texas Rangers who are investigating the incident. According to Texas Rangers statement, on Saturday night, Lucas responded to a disturbance for a call, possible fight in progress, where he found a man later identified as 30-year-old Jonathan Price was reportedly involved in the disturbance. The statement said the officer, who was white, attempted to detain Price, who resisted in a non-threatening posture and began walking away. Lucas deployed his taser and then discharged his service weapon, striking Price. According to the statement, Price was transported to the regional hospital where he later died. According to the statement, the preliminary investigation indicates that the actions of Officer Lucas were objectively reasonable. The attorney for Lucas was not immediately available for comment Monday night. Family and friends of Price told it and stated that Monday that the one-time college football player was intervening in a domestic disturbance at the convenience store when the officer shot him. And he noticed a man assaulting a woman, and he intervened. When the police arrived, I'm told he raised his hands and attempted to explain what was going on. The police fired tasers at him, and when his body convulsed from the electrical current, they perceived as a threat and shot him to death. Price's relatives and friends, Price said, Price, a Wolfe City employee, was well-known in the close-knit community. And what's really sickening is that he was doing the right thing. He saw a man putting his hands on a woman and stepped in to stop the altercation. And the man then fought him. Then the police shot him. He was unarmed. And it's really crazy, man. Really crazy situation. And, you know, the people of that particular city, you know, people of that city and people that knew him, you know, they said that he was a pillar of the community. Now, Texas black man, they called a pillar. Now he's dead. He's dead. Shortly after, police officer allegedly, you know, shot him outside the gas station. Bystanders rushed to the scene. They were speechless when they saw the victim in this small North Texas town. Seemingly everyone knew Jonathan Price. We all loved him and think so highly of him, and just the nicest guy you could ever meet. Price, 31-year-old black man who was a city employee and a personal trainer, a pillar of the community. In fact, witnesses stated Price had tried to break up the fight inside the gas station, but Lucas, who was a white cop, ended up tasering Price and then fatally shooting him. The Wolfe City Police Department quickly suspended Lucas, and on Monday, the Texas Rangers arrested the police officer and charged him with murder in connection with Price's death. And the preliminary investigations indicate that the actions of officer were not reasonable, and the Texas Department of Public Safety said in a statement shared and stated last night. And the arrest comes after an emotional plea from Price's family on Monday and a peaceful demonstration in Wolfe City. Price became the latest black man killed by police to spark national demand for law enforcement reform. And I want to see the man gets what's coming to him for killing my son, said his father. And Jonathan Price grew up in Wolfe City, a small town of about 1,400, located about an hour northeast of Dallas, and starring as an athlete and playing alongside future Major League Baseball player Will Middlebrooks, who called him his first ever favorite teammate. He later played football in 2008 for Hardin-Simmons University in Abilene, Texas, before returning to his hometown to work in the Municipal Works Department. He was a great guy. He was a hometown hero, and he was a motivational speaker. He worked with kids. Lee Merritt, a civil rights attorney representing Price's family, stated. And wow, here we go, man. Another guy, man, that's just out there trying to do the right thing. Trying to do the right thing, man. And here, it's just like every day, man, something different going on. And this is another story that I find to be pretty disturbing. Here you have a pregnant woman, man. This is a video. This video showed a police officer kneeling on the back of a pregnant woman. Protests have erupted in Kansas City, Missouri, after video showed a police officer kneeling on the back of a black pregnant woman while placing her under arrest. Kneeling on a pregnant woman's back. Come on now. And the footage shows at least one officer stretching the arm of the black woman laying on the ground before he turns her on her stomach, holds her hands behind her, and kneels on her back while placing her in handcuffs. It's a pregnant woman now. The officers threatened bystanders with arrest if they vocally objected to the arrest. Victim's lawyer, Stacey Shaw, stated that she was at the location for a balloon releasing honoring a homicide victim, and that the intersection is known for civil justice gatherings. According to the description, an officer backed into the woman as she was filming the event, and when she complained, he pushed her and threw her to the ground. Captain David Jackson, a spokesman for the Kansas City Police, stated that officers were called to the scene by a business owner who reported a fight at the scene, and that the woman interfered when officers who were trying to arrest another man. Second video, recorded from what appears to be a security footage from the area, however, does little to support either of the claims. It shows a woman walking in the parking lot of a gas station. The woman says something to the cops from a distance before she walks over to a friend. A couple of officers begin to approach her, and when she begins to leave the scene, the officers try to hold her, and before people at the scene start to run, and officers follow. The arrest takes place out of the view of the camera. A few minutes later, the camera shifts to the view to show the incident on the street. A few people around the officer and woman appear to argue when the cops, who make gestures to bystanders to stay away. The man in the supposed fight, Troy Robinson, said that he frequently leads the protests in that area, and that police have beaten him numerous times. After the footage was released on Friday, protesters gathered in front of City Hall to call for the resignation of Chief Rick Smith, identified as the officer in the video. Civil rights advocates have been calling for Smith's resignation following protests against police brutality in the last few months. The Smith has said he will not resign. So this is a one of those, so-called bad apples they keep talking about. Why is this guy still on the police force? He's gonna still be on the police force till he end up killing somebody. You know the next step. And then this is a follow-up of a video, and the video shows a cop ignoring a woman who fell head first on a patrol car while being hogtied. And a police officer in Aurora, Colorado, admitted to ignoring a black woman's cries for help after she fell head first while being hogtied in the back of the police car for nearly 21 minutes. The video footage of the incident, first shown by the city on Tuesday, is part of the appeal hearing of former police officer Levi Huffman, who was fired over the incident. The video, timestamped shortly before 5:30 p.m., begins with a woman identifying herself as 20-year-old Shatine Kelly kneeling on the ground with her hands in the air after allegedly getting into a fight with another woman. Her friend handcuffs her, and when the audio picks up, roughly 30 seconds in, Huffman is heard saying he deployed his taser. When Kelly tried to tell the officer that she wasn't responsible for the incident, the police responded to he told her, "Shut up." Huffman said during the Wednesday appearance that hearing that the taser did not pierce Kelly's skin. Minutes later, Huffman and another officer put Kelly in the back of the police car. When she leaned toward the other side of the vehicle and attempted to open the car door, Huffman told another officer he was going to hobble her for trying to get out of his car. Police then took her out of the car and put her face down in the nearby grass. Officer held Kelly down with her feet and hands were tied behind her back. During this hearing, Huffman said he used a cord like a nylon rope known as a hobble to connect her hands and her feet to a waist chain placed under her stomach. The footage showed at least two other officers standing and watching a few feet away. One officer asked Huffman if he needed to call for a medical team, but Huffman said no. Two officers then picked her up by her shoulders and feet and placed her in the back of the seat of the police car. A camera in the back seat showed Kelly screaming that she was in pain and that she could not breathe. For the first few minutes, she continually asked for him to help her sit up, and when he did not do so, she became verbally aggressive. She then slid head first onto the floor of the vehicle. Kelly then slid farther onto the floor. Eventually, her feet were above her head. She sobbed and apologized several minutes, and she stated that she couldn't breathe. She stated, "I don't want to die like this, officer. I'm a good person. I'm just having some problems. She said, this hurts so bad. Please don't let me die back here." When she arrived at the detention center, a female officer opened the door and immediately asked, "Honey, why are you head down like that?" "He was going to kill me," she repeatedly told the female officer. When the female officer told Huffman it didn't look pleasant, Huffman responded, she was in the seat, but she decided she wanted to roll. So during questioning, Huffman said Kelly wormed herself over the back seat of the car and put herself on the floorboard. He also said that he exited the police vehicle for 1 minute and 4 seconds after he arrived at the jail, leaving Kelly inverted in the back seat. He said he did so to secure his gun, and that not securing his gun prior to helping Kelly would have been a policy violation, blah, blah, blah. He admitted to leaving her in the car was also a violation. So either way it goes, the police chief, Vanessa Wilson, fired Huffman and said every time she watches the footage, it seems to get worse. And they asked Wilson overruled a recommendation from the Chiefs Review Board that Huffman be penalized with a 180-hour suspension, but she fired him. Said, "This is not what we're hired to do. We're not judge, jury, and executor. We are not to treat people inhumanely like they don't matter," Wilson said during the hearing, which was placed over Zoom. Huffman is lucky she did not, and is lucky that she did not die in the back seat of that car, because he would be, in my opinion, in an orange jumpsuit right now. This is not what I want to expect from my officers. And I'm angry, she stated, and every time she watches this video, it makes me sick. And, so it's like, okay. So anyway, hey, he got fired. The cop was fired after leaving the woman in the back seat in a patrol car. He was fired for doing what he did. So now he's trying to get his job back. But you got fired, man. You got fired, for, mistreating the female. Got her hog tied, got her, upside down on the floor on top of her head. And, it's a crazy situation. And, we just can't, stuff like this happens all the time. Yep. Happens all the time. And I mean, they've done worse. Never forget, back in 1985, the police dropped a bomb on West Philly. I mean, they just literally dropped an incendiary bomb from a helicopter, and it burned up like, I think it was almost a square mile that ended up burning up. And all these black people lived in this one community. So.
Right. KPVIDEONEWS, y'all.
That's right, folks. KPVIDEONEWS.
It's time for what?
Peace.